Am I the a-hole for refusing to walk my daughter down the aisle? My daughter, 26, female, and I haven't spoken in years. When she was 15, we found out she wasn't my biological daughter, and that my wife had cheated on me years ago with a friend. As it turns out, the so-called friend was suddenly interested in playing dad. My wife and I divorced. My daughter learned the truth, and I told her I still loved her no matter what. Of course, she was interested now in getting to know her biological father, and while it hurt, I tried to accept that. She started pulling away from me after that. Even when trying to still do things together as a family, she was no longer interested. The last straw was when she was 20 and living at my house. We were arguing because she dropped from her college courses, hasn't done anything for 3 months, and mad because I told her she either needed to go to school or work if she wants to stay here for free. She told me I'm not her real dad, so stop pretending like I am, and that she'll just go stay with her real father. That broke me, honestly. But I told her if that's how she really feels, then there's really nothing left to say between us. And she didn't move out to go live with him. I was depressed for a very long time, drank so much. My son, 24 male, was my only reason to keep moving forward. For the first couple years, I reached out to my daughter, but she wanted no contact, and I learned to accept that and move on. It helped me find more peace in my life. My son stopped talking to her for a while over this and was angry with her. They still chat sometimes, which doesn't bother me at all, and through him I learned her biological father died in October 2019, also that she's engaged. She then reached out to me. First, that she knows that we haven't talked in a while, but wants to ask me if I'd be willing to walk her down the aisle. After a pretty long message about how much she hurt me in the past with her actions, I told her no. She didn't want me to be her father anymore, so I learned to no longer view her as my daughter. This turned into a fight between us because, according to her, it's not her fault she wanted to know her real dad. And I agree with her it's not, but what was her fault was how she treated me ever since. In my mind, I know if he hadn't passed away, we wouldn't even be speaking right now. It ended with telling her I hope she enjoys her wedding, but I want no part of it or her life. My son has told me she's ranting to my family that I'm ruining her day, and she thought parents are supposed to love their kids unconditionally. My brothers seem to think now that I'm being a-hole, and that this is my chance to be in her life again. But I have no interest in that. Still seems everyone has a strong opinion on it, that I'm making it difficult for my daughter to have the wedding she wants when it would mean a lot to her. My son is on my side, but the comments are still wearing me down. And just for the sake of my sanity, am I being an a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She decided that you're not her father in any capacity. You respected that. Now that the other guy is dead, she doesn't get to change the rules. She doesn't want you. She wants someone to play a part. Maybe your son can be the one to give her away instead. Or her mom can walk her down the aisle. Maybe, but my son already said he's not going to the wedding. Not over this. He just doesn't want to. So don't know what his response would be if she asked him. They're not close despite talking every now and then. Not today, home. Wow, Opie. I'm so sorry to read through your story, and some people may disagree, but I really don't think you're the a-hole. You attempted contact throughout the years, but it wasn't you that became distant. It was your daughter. She wanted to get to know her by dad. Nothing wrong with that. But at the expense of becoming distant and eventually having no contact with you, her dad who had been there for her since she was born. Now the boy dad isn't there to walk her down the aisle. Opie, if she wanted you at her wedding, you would have gotten an invitation, and not become a stand-in for deceased boy dad. Why can't your brother walk her down the aisle? Personally, I think she just wants her wedding to look good, irrespective of how you feel. Not an a-hole at all. He said he's not going to the wedding regardless, but I'm not sure if she would ask him. Hi, Opie. I'm adopted. It is entirely possible to have a relationship with multiple sets of parents. When I found my bio dad, my adoptive dad invited him to a Father's Day barbecue. My bio dad asked if he would be stepping on his toes. My adoptive dad said, more people loving my daughter is a good thing. Not today, home. She's just mad that this will ruin her day. Has no concerns over your thoughts and feelings. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad I'm glad his stealing my money gave his marriage bad luck? My mom died when I was 10, and she left me money in trust with my grandparents in charge. But my dad got access to it due to him being my dad and knowing about it, and paid for his wedding with it a few months later. I hated him for it. Then afterward, he and his wife had a worse luck. She lost her job and had to take a huge downgrade, and then they couldn't have kids. Then my dad's longest friend told him he was done with him after they'd had a fight a couple of months before that. My dad got also passed over every promotion since. I know it's not my mom, but I like to think my mom gave them the bad luck when they used her money to pay for their wedding. Though my grandparents secretly put the money into a different account and considered it my mom's money for me still, so I didn't fully miss out. But my dad didn't care if I did. I'm now 20 and kinda estranged from my dad. I saw him at my pop's, his dad's, house a couple of weeks ago, and he was ranting to me about not being there after the crap they have gone through. I told him I was glad stealing brought him bad luck, and to leave me alone. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. He reaped what he sowed. Can't blame anyone except for his a-hole self. I think this may be one for the history books as positive proof of witchcraft. Not mad about it at all. Leaving the new wife aside, I'm thinking that the reason your dad's been passed over for every promotion and the fact he used money meant for you for himself might be one and the same. I'm sure if he's that entitled and selfish, it's probably coming across in his work too. Not the a-hole. Exactly. People who would steal from their children by literally breaking the law will not all of a sudden be moral and decent human beings in every other aspects of their lives. And same thing goes for the new wife. Yep, my a-hole dad stole my inheritance. Our estrangement began with a lawsuit. Not the a-hole. But several people failed you here. A trust set up by others is meant to prevent anyone who isn't a trustee, parents included, from accessing it. Being your dad wouldn't have given him free access. He'd have needed special permission to access it, usually done through court, and he would have had to prove why he needed it and how it was being used for you. Besides that, only your grandparents would have been able to access it to give him permission since they were trustees. We believe it was the bank that ultimately failed me. The bank account my dad went in with my papers and gained access that way. My grandparents were furious. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for charging my sister full price for the costume baskets plus robes, forcing her to possibly have to return her dream wedding dress? Basically, a couple months ago, my female 19 sister 30 was telling my mom she had a really tight budget for her wedding and couldn't afford a big wedding she had dreamt of. So I offered to help her find cheaper alternatives to the decorations she wanted. She asked if I could make the bridesmaids costume baskets and robes with their names on it for less than half of what I charge, because she couldn't find someone who could make it for a cheap enough price. So I agreed. Eventually, she managed to save a lot and was able to get the dress she originally wanted. I figured everything else was fine, until last week. My sister decided she did not want kids at her wedding because she wanted the adults to enjoy themselves and drink. I still thought nothing of the sudden change, until she told me I was no longer invited to her wedding. When I asked her why, she said because I was to be considered a kid since I can't drink. She said I was still invited to the wedding rehearsal, but that's it. I told her since I wasn't invited to the wedding, to find someone else to do the costume robes plus gift baskets, or pay me full price for it. This meant she would have to return her dress because everything else she had for the wedding was already the cheapest she could find. Both my mom and dad say I'm being petty, and that I should still do it because she's my sister. Her fiancé has also called me self-centered and childish, and my brother agreed with him. Am I the a-hole here? Edit. Some people suggested she uninvited me for a different reason, but we haven't had any argument in a while. And the last big argument was last year, so I don't see what I could have done to make her uninvite me. But thank you guys for the comments. Also, I live in America, so I legally can't drink for another 2 years. But I didn't have a problem with not drinking anyways. Also adding, I was invited. I didn't assume I could go. She was there when I bought my dress. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. You're 19 and immediate family, not a toddler for distant relative. Is she also going to uninvite anyone who's teetotal or simply doesn't drink? The adults can still enjoy themselves. You're in no way preventing that. Tell her that if you're considered a kid, fulfilling her request would be child labor, and you wouldn't want to encourage her to do something so unethical as to capitalize on that. I love the child labor comment. That's the reason the OP should give to her sister for not doing baskets and robes. Not the a-hole. I'm shocked that she would uninvite you and call you a child after using you for cheap labor. That is ridiculous. She can pay you full price or re-invite you. She doesn't have to have a wedding at all. If she can't afford some things, that's her problem. Not the a-hole. Yep, it would be sucky behavior even if she was some random friend or a distant relative. But own sister? Yeah, no. Next story. Am I the a-hole for publicly calling out my sister and her new husband for lying about their wedding being child-free? My stepdaughter 15 Jane has a burn scar around her neck and covers one side of her face. The reason was an accident that took place 4 years ago. And yes, she's already gotten tons of insensitive comments. But to me and her dad, she's still the most beautiful soul. My family's been supportive and loving towards Jane. My sister and her now husband got married days ago. They told me and my husband they decided the wedding would be child-free, meaning Jane couldn't come. They asked if that'd be okay, and we said yeah, absolutely. Respect the bride and groom's rules. I've immediately arranged for Jane to stay with a friend that she calls Auntie, though Jane wanted to attend the wedding. But I explained this was a rule for everyone, and we should respect that. My husband and I got to the venue, and first thing we noticed was kids. Kids of all ages all around the venue. My husband literally stopped walking. He paused for a few seconds, looked at me, then let go of my hand and said he was out of there. He walked out, but I stood still when my mom saw me and signaled me to come join the family. But I didn't go. He asked one of the guests who had his kid with him, and he said this event allowed kids. I was seeing red at this point because I was fooled into leaving Jane at home and coming with my husband only. I ignored mom and went straight to where my sister and her husband were standing. Then I blew up at them asking why they lied about this being a child-free wedding when it wasn't. I asked them in front of everyone why they decided to basically lie to me and my husband and get us to exclude our daughter. Why? Is Jane somehow different from the other kids who showed up? My sister tried to calm me down, but I bluntly asked if it was because her step-niece has a burn scar / visible injury that she and her husband were too ashamed of. I literally heard guests saying, "Oh." Mom tried to get me to step off the stage, but I proceeded to call my sister and her husband awful, insensitive people with no respect for me or their niece. My sister started crying, saying she would never, and that I misunderstood, and brother-in-law begged me to go sit. But I refused, and said I wasn't interested in celebrating / supporting their marriage after this. I walked out, and was followed by my mom and aunts lashing out, saying I went out of line, and was disrespectful for the bride who is my sister for God's sake, and ruined her wedding by saying that in front of everyone. Mom said it was brother-in-law's idea, and I have a right to be mad, but I should have confronted her later, not in front of guests and ruining the event. They said eventually this was their day, and they get to decide. But still, they said I should have spoken to her privately or left instead of making a scene. Not they home. They deserved every bit of embarrassment. Yep, just showed all their friends and family the true versions of themselves. Not they home. What shocked me about this was that your mom clearly knew this lie was happening and didn't tell you. What did she expect? That you would be okay with it? Your daughter clearly has great parents who love her and a sucky extended family. People turn into absolute monsters over making sure their wedding looks perfect. I'll never understand why these kinds of people are so quick to ruin their relationships over trying to present a certain image to others. Not they home. I'm glad they got called out in front of everyone for being horrible people. Your poor daughter is probably sensitive about the scar as it is. This would make her feel so much worse. I hate to think about how she'd feel if she finds out about this. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to pass down my engagement ring to my future daughter-in-law? My son Sam, 26, and his longtime girlfriend, now fiancée Emily, 26, finally decided to get married. They had announced their engagement privately to my husband and me, and after the initial excitement, they said they had something important to talk to me about. Sam wanted my engagement ring to give to Emily. Sam said this would be a great way to keep him from starting his marriage in debt, from having to buy a new expensive diamond ring. Emily also added that she has liked the look of my ring a lot, and would love for me to pass it down to her. I love my engagement ring. I've worn it every day since my husband proposed to me with it, and to be honest, I still have plenty of years to live that I want to keep wearing it until I am old and gray. Also, my ring is not a family heirloom. My husband chose and bought this ring for me many years ago. So I told them that I appreciated them wanting my ring, but no, I wanted to keep it. I listed out the reasons above, and how I don't want to part with my ring yet for the rest of my still long life. However, when I am old, I would be more than happy to give it to their future children. Well, Sam and Emily weren't happy with my answer, and Sam actually called me selfish and materialistic. He said that diamonds are a scam, and asked how I could let him go into debt to buy a new ring. Emily was disappointed, and said that she had hoped that my ring could become a family heirloom, and it would be a token of accepting her into our family. I've always liked Emily, and we got along great. They also said that I could keep my wedding band, so it wasn't like they were leaving me without any rings to wear. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and I almost can't even believe this. They're calling you materialistic? They can get married without any diamond ring at all. It's hardly a requirement. Your son is additionally an a-hole for asking you this with Emily right there in front of you. That's like a kid who asks his mother, "Can Jimmy spend the night?" with a friend there so mom can't say no. Bad enough that Emily was there too. But Emily actually piping up to express her own disappointment? This is gobsmacking. What's next? They ask to be gifted Opie's house so they don't start their marriage in debt? While we're at it, go ahead and throw in all your savings. You two are old and your life is basically over anyway. If I was OP, I'd be seriously questioning where me and my husband went wrong in raising the self-absorbed a-hole, and how he could possibly have turned out this way. Not the a-hole. Time for them to grow up. That crap floored me too. So not the way to start off your relationship with your mother-in-law. Also, if they're so concerned about materialism and cost of a diamond, then they could always get a cheaper stone. Hell, pawn shops are full of other people's heirlooms and diamond rings for a bargain. If Opie's son is insistent on an actual diamond while still being a cheap a-hole. Edit. Thanks to everyone who commented. I liked reading about your own engagement rings and diamond alternatives. My husband did defend me, and had told our son to leave and walk it off when he started arguing with me. He said he's on my side, and would have respected my decision with the ring, but he admitted that he was happy that I still love my ring so much after all these years.
I broke up with my boyfriend after he gave me the silent treatment for 4 days, because I said no to his friend moving into my apartment. I'm 24 female sharing this because it's been weighing on me, and honestly, I just need to get it off my chest. A little background. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment that I worked hard for. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine. About 5 months into dating my boyfriend, 29 male, he hit a rough patch. He lost his job and was struggling, and because I cared about him and wanted to be supportive, I offered to let him stay with me for a little while. Little while being the key part. He promised it would just be until he got back on his feet, found a new job, and could get his own place. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. And I really thought I was doing the right thing by standing by someone I loved. Fast forward to now. We've been together 9 months, and he's still here. He never moved out like he said he would, and honestly, he hasn't really tried to help out much either. He doesn't chip in for rent, utilities, or any of the main bills. Every once in a while, he'll grab some groceries, but I buy groceries too, so in the end, I'm the one paying for almost everything. What started as me trying to be helpful turned into me feeling like I was carrying both of us while he just coasted. Now on to what happened recently. A few weeks ago, he asked me if one of his friends, who's also having a hard time, could move in with us just for a bit. As soon as he said it, my stomach sank. Our apartment is already super small. It's barely enough space for the two of us, let alone adding another person. And beyond that, I didn't feel comfortable having someone I barely know living with me. This is supposed to be my safe space. So I told him no. I was polite but firm. I explained why I wasn't okay with it. I thought he'd get it, or at least that we'd be able to talk about it if he had feelings about it. Instead, the very next day after I said no, he completely shut down. He wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't even look at me. I figured maybe he just needed a little time to cool off. Maybe he was hurt and needed space. But then a day passed, then another, and another. 4 whole days of being completely ignored in my own home. 4 days of feeling like I didn't even exist. I tried to talk to him, tried to open the door to communication, but every time, I got nothing. No words, no eye contact, just coldness. It was humiliating. It broke my heart. I felt disrespected, abandoned, and invisible. By the end of those 4 days, I knew what I had been trying not to admit. I deserved better. I deserved a partner who talks to me, who respects my boundaries, who doesn't punish me for standing up for myself. So I ended things. Now some mutual friends are trying to make me feel bad about it, saying I should have been more understanding, that he was just hurt, and guys aren't always great at expressing their feelings, etc. But to me, this was never just about him being upset. It was about the way he handled it. The silent treatment, the complete lack of respect, the emotional immaturity. And that's not something I can accept in a relationship. Now for the top comments. Oh no, F that. Your mutual friends are wrong. You financially supported a hobo and he threw a temper tantrum because you wouldn't also financially support his friend? Good riddance. He treated me so poorly for 4 days straight while still expecting me to coddle him, but I couldn't take it anymore, so I told him to pack his stuff up and leave. And when the mutuals whine at you again about how he's hurting, because if you haven't blocked them, they will, tell them they are more than welcome to have that hobosexual reside with them, because you're overpaying his bills while he disrespects you in your house. I'm cackling at your comments. I've never used a hobosexual on someone before, but I guess it's going to be used on the daily from now on. Yep, good riddance. He literally contributed nothing and had the audacity to ask for his friend to move in. You know his friend would have been the same way, and you would be paying for both of them. Those friends are stupid. Let them host your boyfriend and his friends see how long they put up with it. Thank you. I was literally shocked to see how audacious he had become. Also quit collecting moochers. Your friends all think you should pay for things you shouldn't. Be more selective. Moochers always find a way to make you feel guilty for saying no. Next story. My boyfriend ran away as a dog brutally bit me, and now I see him differently. So I, 24 female, have been with my boyfriend, 25 male, for 3 years and just moved in together not that long ago, but recently something happened to me that I'm recovering from, in which my boyfriend did nothing to try to help me. 2 weeks ago, we went over to his sister and brother-in-law's home for a visit, and as we were leaving, their next-door neighbor's large pit bull was outside after escaping from the fence. It wasn't closed all the way, and bit my arm badly. I won't get into too much detail because this post is already going to be pretty lengthy, but I'm currently in recovery and taking time off from work, as I ended up with injuries from it and can't use my right arm. My boyfriend's reaction through all of it is what had me pissed. The attack happened out of nowhere. I barely had time to process it. My back was facing away from the house, so I didn't see the dog coming out of the fence. All I know is I heard and saw him barking at us when we left his sister's house, but he was secured, so I didn't think much of it. My boyfriend, however, was facing him, and I looked and saw the dog running out and biting me. Immediately, my boyfriend went inside his sister's house and got his brother-in-law and sister, who ended up hitting the dog with a stick that was already outside. It still took effort to get him off, but before that, I was alone for about 5 minutes with this dog just not letting go. I couldn't get him off me. Now, I'll get to why I'm upset with my boyfriend. I knew he was outside with me when it first happened. He was the first person I looked for and yelled for when the dog wouldn't let go, and I was in the worst pain I've ever experienced. I've never had a broken bone, needed surgery, or anything like that. So yes, that is the worst pain I've felt. Afterward, when I got home from the hospital, I asked him why his brother-in-law had to do what he could have done himself, and he admitted to me that he freaked out and didn't want the dog to bite him next. He said that he was scared of blood and didn't know what to do. Honestly, this kind of made me cringe to hear and made me mad. Because it's like, you're a grown man running away and could have helped me. I'm not by any means saying it's his fault the dog attacked me, but I think if he would have acted quicker to get him off, it would have helped me out. After he told me all of this, I kind of started looking at him differently. I can't help it. 2 days after that, I went to sleep at my parents' house and haven't gone back, because I'm not sure how I feel about him anymore. I just need time to think. I told him this, and he thinks I'm being unreasonable. It's been a great and healthy relationship, and I've been genuinely happy. I don't want to throw away a 3-year relationship over this. Like I mentioned, we just moved in together, and he's been hinting at proposing sometime this year. I just don't want to be with someone whose first instinct in an emergency is to run away and not do anything. It even has me thinking about the future, thinking about when it's time for us to have a kid, if he's just going to panic and not comfort me as I'm in pain giving birth. I don't know. It just made me lose feelings for him, which I know sounds silly, but I literally can't help it. I found out afterward that his sister already yelled at him too, asking why he left me alone. My parents are, of course, siding with me, but I don't know if it's just because I'm their daughter lol. So I need unbiased opinions. Do I have the right to be upset? There is a similar story to yours floating around Reddit. A woman was with her husband and their niece and nephew in their fenced backyard. I guess the gate was open, and a dog ran into attack. The wife immediately grabbed the small children to get them to safety. Meanwhile, the husband locked the wife and two small children in the backyard with the dog while he ran away. They were his sister's children, and I'm pretty sure his sister was appalled at his behavior, and the wife ended up divorcing him. I get it's a knee-jerk reaction, fight or flight, but you've seen how he will react, and it's not great. It's the locking the gate part that always gets me. There's fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Bro skipped all that and went straight to sacrifice. You don't need to outrun the bear, just your wife and two small children. Next story. My girlfriend is 5 months pregnant. Found out it probably isn't mine. We've been together for 3 years. She recently moved into my apartment. About a week after she moved in, she told me she was pregnant. I was shocked because we were always careful. She doesn't like the pill because it causes her to have terrible mood swings. But we always use protection, and we've never had any scares regarding it breaking. The shock quickly gave way to excitement. I've always known I wanted kids eventually, and even though this isn't the most perfect time because we are both still young, 24, I was really happy. And she seemed to be too. I definitely went overboard with preparation. My wallet definitely isn't happy with me. I turned my gaming room into a nursery. I had my dream set up. I sold a lot of it and moved the minimum I actually needed into our bedroom in the corner. I bought a cot, a car seat, clothes, painted the walls in the nursery, and I've been saving and working more hours to prepare. When I said I went overboard, I mean it. I definitely got overexcited. But about a week ago, my girlfriend's best friend messaged me, saying we needed to talk urgently. She called me and told me that my girlfriend had confessed to cheating on me and not using protection, and the timing lined up perfectly with her pregnancy. I obviously didn't believe her at first, but she was adamant that my girlfriend told her exactly what she just told me. She said there was no way she was keeping this from me, even if she was my girlfriend's best friend. So I asked my girlfriend, and I don't want to explain the whole conversation because it's really long and personal. But she denied it, then slipped up when I asked a question, and then she admitted it and broke down crying. I know she's pregnant, and I know there's still a tiny chance it's mine, but I kicked her out. Probably horrible of me, but now she's at her parents'. We haven't spoken since, but she's been blowing up my phone. I need to speak with her eventually so she can get the rest of her stuff, but I really don't want to. She cheated on me and didn't say anything. Then she found out she was pregnant and must have known straight away it almost definitely wasn't mine. And she continued to hide it for 5 months. She let me spend so much money on all this stuff and get so excited, all the while knowing it isn't mine. And the only way I found out is because her friend had the decency to tell me. This is the saddest I've ever felt. I lost my girlfriend and what I thought was my baby at the same time. I've been trying not to cry and just keep going, but I can't. I can't even explain how I feel right now. I haven't told anyone yet because it's so embarrassing. I did all of that stuff for a kid that isn't even mine. I know I'll have to tell my family and friends eventually. I just want to tell someone. At least if I say it here, I won't be judged by people in my life. Now for the comments. I'm so sorry about all of this. Doing forget to take a paternity test. So if it isn't yours, she can't pin the baby to you. I plan to. The chances it's mine, though, are minuscule, but still, better to be sure. Dude, you didn't do anything wrong. She has her parents to take her in, and you were lucky to find out sooner. My neighbor found out that his daughter wasn't his when she was in her 50s, and that ruined him. The girl belonged to the doctor, his wife's boss, and the girl's godfather. Today he lives drunk and sad. He didn't break up, but he no longer has a life. Don't give her any of the baby stuff if you plan to, until the DNA test. You might need it if it's yours. I should be able to get some money back. Probably not what I paid though. If you bought them from a retail store, sometimes management will have a heart and refund what you purchased due to sad circumstances. Nah. In the UK, you need a receipt or a proof of purchase. It's unlikely I still have any. You really don't. It's at the discretion of the place. Just call the place and say you bought some baby stuff, but it turns out you won't be needing it anymore, and ask if you can get a refund. Unless you've opened it or it's damaged, they're not likely to say no. Plus, if you've paid on your card, you can look at your bank statements and figure it out. I thought most places are really strict about needing a receipt. I tried to return some shirts I bought at Primark because they were too small. Wouldn't accept the return unless I had a physical paper receipt. Might just be this shop. Last story. Brother's new wife banned him from playing video games with us, found out last night, and having a hard time being happy for him today. I, 22 female, am currently out of town for my older brother's 28 male wedding, which is happening today. He's marrying a woman he's been dating for about 10 months, and they only decided to get married last month. It all happened really fast. Since he lives across the country, the only way we really hang out is by playing video games together. It's something we've done for as long as I can remember. Me, him, and our younger brother, 19 male. It's not like we play constantly or all night, just a couple of hours here and there, nothing crazy. It's always been our way of staying connected. His now wife has made it really clear that she hates video games. From early on, she told him she didn't like him playing, and eventually told him she didn't want him playing with us at all. He tried to compromise, and for a little while she allowed some limited gaming. But last night, the night before his wedding, he told me that she's officially put her foot down. No more games. At all. She told him they're a waste of time, and he should be using that time to do more for himself. I didn't know what to say. He already knows how I feel. How we feel, our younger brother and I. But it's clear that this is her boundary, and because it's his fiancée, now wife, there's not really space for us to say anything without it seeming like we're being unsupportive. And I want to be supportive. I want to be happy for him today. But what really gets me is how much he's given up for her already. It's like he's constantly adjusting, compromising, bending to fit into her life, and she refuses to give him anything back. She won't even let him have this, a couple of hours here and there with his siblings, doing something we've always done. I'm sad that it feels like we're losing our brother to someone who doesn't seem to value the connection we have, and sad that it feels like there's no room for us anymore, unless we change or just quietly back away. I don't want to make this day about me, I really don't. I want to be happy for him, but it hurts more than I thought it would, especially since he only told us last night. I don't know. Controlling behavior isn't a boundary. A boundary is drawing a line around something that affects you personally. Dictating how someone spends some of their free time is controlling behavior. This doesn't end well. He won't know this mistake till it's too late. 10 months? People don't even start showing their true colors until the 6-month mark. So getting married at 10 months is crazy work. And the fact that she's trying to isolate him from his family is the biggest, reddest flag of them all. Update with info. Didn't expect so many comments. To cover it now, I haven't gotten to speak with him yet. I intend on calling him soon. They have gotten married as of this afternoon. People are saying I may be leaving out some info, and I will say I found this out last night and needed to get it out, so I may have left some context aside. 1. He is not hooked on video games. He is very responsible with time spent on a computer and only played with us 1 to 2 times a week, a couple of hours at a time. Usually Tuesday or Wednesday, and he made sure to call us once she was in bed, as she goes to bed far earlier. Outside of that, he played with his friends every so often, but this would also affect how much time we had. 2. I said he's changing a lot for her and she's not giving anything in return. I mean, he has changed jobs, changed his wardrobe, stopped learning a language he loves, etc. And the 2 things he asks she won't give, one being some gaming time with us. 3. I saw someone mention that our opinion shouldn't matter in this. If this was a decision they mutually made, I'll support it. It may hurt, but I will get over it if he feels that's what's best for his relationship. But being that it's something she's forcing that was originally allowed on limited terms makes no sense to me. Also, he limits the time, and we, our younger brother and I, make sure we never interfere with their plans. I'm struggling with how to bring this up to him without adding to the stress and frustration he's already feeling. I'm not trying to make things harder. I just hope we can find some kind of compromise that works for everyone. If it ends up being an it is what it is situation, then so be it. But if there's a way to meet in the middle, I'd really love that. After all, she's my sister-in-law now. I will try to update if this goes anywhere. Nonetheless, we will never stop supporting him. He is our brother, and we love him. The door is always open for him.
First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to take in my father's daughter? My father cheated on my mother and got another woman pregnant. Mom immediately filed for divorce. He went on to marry the other woman. My dad didn't have much custody of me when I was little. He was nice and tried really hard, but my mom was my primary custodian and there was nothing that I wouldn't do for her. I guess the fact that he always disrespects my mom, acts like she is the reason he cheated, just made me hate him. My mother also strictly told my father that I am not to have any contact with his wife/child. This happened when I was 5. I am now 20. Right now, I don't have any family except for my father, with whom I have got all contact with. He didn't come to my mom's funeral, and that was the last straw for me. Few months ago, my father's daughter, Tracy, contacted me. Turns out that she has lost both her parents to the pandemic. She was about to go into foster care and begged me to help her. I told her very politely that I do not want to have any contact with her and that she cannot possibly expect me to take care of her when I am just a broke college student. She told me that she had plans and she would work, and all I have to do is not let her go into foster home. She told me that she will take care of herself. She asked me to help her as I am her sister. As I mentioned, I have no clue about this person. I don't even know if what she was suggesting was legally possible. In the end, I told her that I wasn't in any position to help her, and I don't know her. I told her that while we do have the same father, I don't consider him to be my father, and I don't consider her to be my sister. I wished her luck, but also firmly told her that I do not wish to have any contact with her. After that, I ignored any attempt she made to contact me. She has recently started trying to contact me again. I had some glimpse at the messages and she alternates between calling me monster/heartless to how awful her foster home is. I haven't responded. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. No a-holes here. She's a scared 14 to 15-year-old in foster care, and you're the only option she can see out of it. It sucks, but you aren't wrong. You don't have to have a relationship with her, and it's not like you were in any position to take care of her. It's a sucky situation, but it's probably best if you ask her to stop messaging you, and if she doesn't, block her. I understand she's going through a lot, but it doesn't give her the right to take it out on you, a stranger. Kid probably has a whole fantasy relationship with Opie in her head. I know I did about my much older brothers, that they would rescue me from our father, that they loved me, that one day I'd go live with them. Opie is in no position to parent this kid, but it's a bitter dose of truth for kids, sis. No a-holes here. No a-holes here, but I'm going to tell you something you definitely don't want to hear. Your dad cheated on your mom, and that was a jerk move on his part. Even stupider that he would try and blame it on her. Your mom messed up too, though. You say you had little contact with your father, and then say that your mom forbade any contact to his wife and other child. She knew that meant she was limiting contact between you and him. That literally meant you couldn't have a room in their home, no holidays together, etc. She alienated your father. And this girl is your sister, whether you want to recognize it or not. She didn't cheat on your mom. Your dad did. I'm not saying you should take her in, because not doing so is your choice and your right. I do think it's time to start critically thinking about why you worship one parent and denounce the other. Your mom may have been great, but she wasn't perfect, and it's unhealthy to idolize someone so unquestionably. Especially since it occurred when Opie was 5, I get some serious parental alienation vibes from the mom. Also, that Opie somehow thinks her dad should have come to her mom's funeral. Most people don't go to their ex's funeral, especially if that person hated them. Could dad have supported Opie in other ways? Maybe, but given the circumstances, it's difficult. Dad is the estranged parent. Mom hated dad. I've been there, and there was nothing my dad could have done to help. No a-holes here. You can't afford to take care of a virtual stranger. She sounds like a scared kid. Edit to add. Though if her parents are dead, so is your father? Really cut him off hard, didn't you? Yes, I didn't even know that he passed away until she called. Now for the second story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to adopt my sister's kid? My husband and I already have 3 kids. 2 are adopted. 1 is my biological child from a previous relationship, ages 11, 9, and 8. My sister is pregnant. She can't look after the baby. So she asked us to adopt her child as it would be a short and uncomplicated process for us, as we already know what we're doing both in terms of adoption and babies. And as we are approved adoptive parents who still foster from time to time, it would be simple enough to take in an extra child. However, I am concerned at my sister's behavior. She's already referring to the child as her baby, which is fair enough as the baby is growing inside of her, but it makes me worry that she won't be able to detach herself from the child. Additionally, I'm concerned that I will unwittingly become a glorified babysitter until she decides she wants to take the child back, as she has said that while she wants this baby, she's not ready yet. I have friends who have adopted relatives' children, and it becomes a mess of various boundary-related issues. Example, the bio parent telling the kid to call them mom/dad. While my kids have said they'd be okay with it, and my husband has also said so, the final concern is that if she changes her mind later and tries to take the child back, or even just trample some boundaries related to the child, that will disrupt our home and upset all my kids, as the kids I have now need a stable family dynamic due to their history. When I communicated these worries to my sister, she said she might have some lingering maternal instincts because this would still be her biological child, but she feels this shouldn't be enough to talk me out of it. Both of our parents are only children, so we have no cousins/aunts/uncles who could take the baby, and while we do have 2 other siblings, neither of them is able to take the baby. She's about 6 weeks away from her due date. So, if I hold firm on refusing, she needs to start talking to adoptive parents ASAP. She's admitted that the reason she wants me to take the baby is that I am closer, and she'll be able to see her child in a way that she couldn't if the child were adopted by strangers, but insists that she can maintain any boundaries I put in place despite it still being her kid. Added to add, she also thinks we'd be a good family to adopt the child, as we're set up for another kid right now due to our fostering. We even have baby stuff in the attic and a 7-seater car, and have discussed adopting more children in the future, though we talked about doing it when the children we have right now are older. So, the inclusion of a baby wouldn't be highly disruptive to us, and my husband and I would really love having a baby in the house, and actually debated adopting a baby. I've refused, as I just don't think this is a good idea, and this has led to my sister, siblings, parents, and grandparents calling me an a-hole, saying I need to help my family and that they can't believe I would allow this baby to be surrendered to the system. And I do feel really bad, as I don't want my niece/nephew to be sent to live with strangers. I would like to be involved in their life, and I've not even given it a chance. Well, I won't be making any choices based off a poll of random people on the internet, no offense. I am wondering if anyone could provide me a different perspective. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. It sounds like she wants you to do all the hard work of actually being a parent, and she can just show up for the good bits when she feels like it. Not the a-hole. Your concerns are very valid based on her attitude and things said. Nailed it. Info. How old is your sister? Where is the father? Could he cause problems? What are the reasons your sister can't look after the baby? It very much sounds like she plans to let you do all the hard work, and then when the baby's 5/6, she'll be ready with no concern to you. Could you help the sister in other ways? If money's the issue, could she stay in your spare room for 6 months to save? If it's time, could you and another family member babysit for a few hours each day? Like you do 3 hours and someone else does 3 hours until the baby is old enough for childcare? Why are you the A for letting the kid go into foster care, but your sister isn't for not wanting to sort them a loving family because she still wants some connection? There's so many other options that can be considered that everyone jumping straight to you taking the baby makes your sister's plan pretty clear. And where are your parents in all this? Why can't they look after the child for 2 to 3 years until your sister is ready? She's 31, 2 years older than me. Boyfriend broke up with her recently, in the ballpark of 6 to 8 weeks ago, after saying he wanted to have this baby with her, but he's now saying he won't be involved at all unless she adopts the baby out. In which case, he'll sign whatever he needs to sign for the adoption to go through, and that's going to be the extent of his involvement. Sister has no financial issues. Her issue is that without the boyfriend involved, she will be a single mother, which she says she cannot do, due to the mental/emotional toll she can see motherhood taking on her and not being ready for that progression. Not the a-hole. She can try an open adoption if she really wants to see her baby, but you shouldn't take in a child if you have so many reservations. Even with open adoptions, the birth parent doesn't get to see the child whenever they want. It's normal only a number of visits throughout the year, which is the reason the sister doesn't want another couple because she won't have free access to the child. Not the a-hole. I really feel for your soon-to-be nephew/niece. Is it possible for any of your other siblings to adopt? Or your parents or grandparents? I mean, they can't necessarily call you out if they're not willing to put up. The only way I see you adopting working is if she surrenders all of her rights to you, and she respects any boundaries you make. Sibling 1 is child-free and has a lifestyle that wouldn't allow him to include a child into it, and sibling 2 has 3 kids who are under 4 years old and a 6-year-old. Our parents are in their 50s and planning on retiring soon, and grandparents are in their late 80s, so they don't have the sheer energy required to have a baby. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to have any contact with my late husband's affair child? This is a long story, so buckle up. 7 years ago, my husband passed away. A few months after he passed away, a 15-year-old teenager came to my house. She revealed that she was his daughter. His name isn't in her birth certificate, but he really stepped up after he found out that her mom died when she was 10. She went to live with her grandmother, and my husband paid her grandmother each month to help with the expenses. After my husband died, the payments stopped and her grandmother threw her out. After being homeless for a couple of weeks, she came to my house. This was a pretty big shock to me, and I cannot stress how much I didn't want this person in my house. At the same time, I couldn't leave a child homeless. So I told her that I would help her and give her a place to stay. I also warned her that I only want to help her out, and that I am not taking any maternal role and she shouldn't expect me to. She agreed. She stayed at my house from the years of 15 to 18. My kid had already gone off to college, and I didn't mind. I never acted on the resentment I felt, but at the same time, I refused to do anything that could be considered parent-like. I pretty much only provided her with food and gave her a place to stay. That's it. She left when she was 18. I didn't have any contact with her after she left. She's now 20, and she contacted me recently. She wanted to connect, and she told me that I am the only mother figure she has. She wanted to bond with me, and she wanted me to consider her a daughter to me. After some contemplation, I reminded her that it wasn't a role I was willing to take, and that it was something I warned her about very early on. I helped her because she needed it, not because I loved her. She cried and told me that it wasn't fair and I wasn't giving her a chance. The thing is, I don't think I have to. I have tried refusing politely, but she keeps pushing this, and I am about to block her everywhere. My kid, who has always refused to even talk to the girl, thinks I am right. My friends are divided on this issue. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. No a-holes here, except for your late husband. He really did drop something on you. My ex has a love child of his own. I'll say for legal reasons, allegedly. If I were in your shoes, I would have made the same choices. I wouldn't have bonded with my husband's love child, but I wouldn't have left her on the streets. I can understand her hurt, but if you can't find it in you to want to bond with her, then why force it? Would she have to force a bond with you if you wanted it and she didn't want to? Given the amount of posts on Reddit lately from people telling their partners of their children to pound sand, I really have to commend Opie for stepping up. She didn't have to, but she put her own feelings aside for the sake of the kid, and I really respect that. No a-holes here. You are not her mother. Although, I do want to point out that it wasn't realistic of you to expect a 15-year-old orphan not to get emotionally attached to you when you were the only family she had left, and you chose to open your home to her. You could consider taking on the role of an aunt or an older friend. There is a middle ground between being her mother and going no contact, and she isn't at fault here either. I think that's asking for too much. What Opie did is even more than what a lot of people would have accepted, especially when the husband was already dead. She did her fair share. No a-holes here. She's been dealt a tough hand, but you're not responsible for her. You already did a lot to help her out. Agree, no a-holes here, but I feel worst for the girl. Husband was the a-hole, not her. She didn't ask for this, and she seems to have no one. Her sibling and the closest thing to a maternal figure she has resent her for existing. Very sad. I can't imagine what that feels like. Am I the a-hole for cutting a family member off from a trust fund? 2 years ago, I won a considerable sum in the lottery. Not a scratch-off. The real lottery, to the tune of many millions of dollars. My state does not allow anonymity, and I have many relatives who are less than financially responsible. I knew if I didn't do something, I'd spend the rest of my life being badgered. So I set up a trust for my extended family with a good chunk. How it works is if family has an emergency, they call the trustee and ask for funds, and they assess the need and gives them the money if it meets the terms set in the trust. It's to be used in situations like someone being behind in bills, medical debt, unexpected car repairs, etc. It's to help them get through tough times or major life events, not for vacations or luxury purchases. One of my cousins, let's call him Dale, applied for $75,000 for a brand new loaded pickup truck. He was denied. This was neither an emergency nor was it necessary as he had a perfectly fine vehicle. They offered $5,000 to help with down payment and taxes, and he accepted and bought the truck. This was 6 months ago. Today, the trustee brought to my attention that Dale has never made a payment off his own for the truck. He waits 2 months until he's behind, and then applies for help. The first 2 times they gave him the benefit of the doubt, but now that it's happened a 3rd time, and they're rightfully suspicious. I told them to advise Dale that he can no longer get assistance for his truck payment and to get him some information on how to return it if he cannot afford it, and that we would help, within reason, to get him a much cheaper vehicle that he could afford. Well, this morning his sister Jessie sent me a screenshot of a post he made on Facebook basically bashing me, calling me a selfish prick, and ending with stating he can't wait until I die so he can inherit millions and dance on my grave. Not sure why he thinks that. Most of the money will go to my parents and then the trust, along with a few charities. So I decided to revoke Dale's access to the trust completely, as I don't feel comfortable subsidizing the lifestyle of someone who is actively hoping for my death. Jessie feels bad now for sharing the post and is asking me to reconsider. While Dale is fuming, and my auntie said some choice words leading me to wonder if I'm an a-hole. Dale's father agrees with my decision, but many of our family split. What do you think? Edit. I know it's hard to understand why I even set up the trust to begin with, but I grew up an only child, so I've been extremely close with my cousins and consider their children my nieces/nephews, and them to be the closest thing I've had to brothers and sisters. So I don't want to see them struggle in life if I know I can prevent it without setting myself on fire. But I also am not the most objective person when it comes to them. So I created a trust and appointed a trustee to make the hard level-headed decisions. Dale is the first one to even attempt to take advantage, as the others have only requested funds during the pandemic to help with necessities like mortgage payments and food. And so far, 2 of my nieces were given some money to help with school. The fact that he tried scamming and taking advantage of something meant to help the whole family hurts worse than the Facebook post, honestly. Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. My suggestions? 1. Revoke Dale's access to the trust. If you want to give him a chance to mend his ways, make it for 5 years conditioned on Dale improving as a human being. 2. Tell all the family of your decision. Remind them that it's your money, nobody's entitled to it. That the trust was set up as you care about your family's well-being. But it's not so that any one member abuses it, as it's not fair for all the others. 3. If you want, clarify the information about the will as well, and that the trust will not suddenly see a big infusion of cash upon your death. 4. Finally, let everyone know that the rules apply equally to all, and that anyone who agrees with Dale is equally able to notify the trustee or you not want to access to the trust anymore. P.S. You are very generous and smart in setting up the trust. Keep trusting, pun intended, your instincts. Do the rest of the family not realize that Dale misusing the trust means there's less for them when they really need it? Tell Auntie if Dale takes everything he wants, someday she won't get something she needs. They probably think it's such an unfathomable amount of money that it can never be spent down to zero. And that everybody is why so many lottery winners go broke. Opie has the right idea. Open access would deplete the winnings in no time. Not a-hole. Opie must really love his extended family members that are close to them. Because if I won the lottery, chilly, my no game is strong. I have no problem telling people no. It'd be cheaper to hire someone to just say no to the family all the time. Not today, Hall. It is your money. And while the trust was mainly done to avoid their badgering, it was still a generous act as they never had any right to the money to begin with. You allowed them access for emergencies, and Dale tried to take advantage of it, and even then, he still would have been allowed to use it if he didn't go on social media and post hate. It's his own fault. Facebook is not private, so he ran the risk of you seeing it. And if he can't understand that action of consequences, he shouldn't have access to your money, especially if he is clearly waiting for you to get said money. The ant clearly doesn't understand that access to your money is not a given, even if you are family. Dale was acting entitled and broadcasted it to the world. I would have cut him off after finding out he was trying to cheat the system personally. You have no reason to feel bad for not wanting to share with someone so hateful. The only person at fault here is Dale. If he didn't openly wish for your death on Facebook, which was just plain stupid and spiteful, then he would still be able to use the trust for emergencies. Now he has to do what everyone else does and figure it out on his own. Dale wishes for someone's death to take their cash and dance on their grave. Gets cut out of will/trust. Also Dale, shocked Pikachu face. Dude got what he deserved being greedy. Him taking cash like that takes cash away from the trust as a whole. The other relatives should be annoyed. To be fair, they're not upset that he was told no about the truck. They do think that was appropriate. It's the removing him as a beneficiary completely that some people think may be too harsh, because it means if he ever does have a legitimate emergency situation, he won't have the same family fund to fall back on. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not leaving some of my gaming consoles behind when I moved out? I, 18 male, moved out of my parents' house 6 weeks ago. We had a bad relationship for the last 3 years, and I couldn't handle living there, so I decided to stay with my best friend's parents. My relationship with my parents started to suffer when I was 12, and they became foster parents. Life changed pretty hard. They started taking in kids with all kinds of complex needs, and it led to them taking a sibling set when I was 13. And I had to give up my bedroom and move into my dad's old office, which was a box, so the boys and girls could have rooms big enough to share. We then moved to a bigger house so they could foster more kids, but I still ended up in the box room. Then we fought about me having a job and not treating my step-siblings now that I had money of my own. From there, we pretty much fought about everything. They told me I was selfish and ungrateful, and I had so much, the least I could do was try to be a good big brother and embrace the fact they wanted to help kids. I just resented ending up in a box room and being expected to spend money on these kids. It felt like being shoved into a tiny room should have been enough sacrifice, but no. What pissed them off was how little I wanted to take part in the day-to-day stuff, like therapies, doctor's appointments, taking them to and from school, etc. Once my parents moved into the bigger house, money was super tight and they are still struggling with that now. When I moved out, I took my video game consoles, the ones I paid for. There's my PS1, PS2, PS5, Switch, and a GameCube, and my parents were pissed. They asked me to leave some of the stuff there for their foster kids, but I said no. That I had bought them and I wanted to keep them. They called me selfish again, and said the kids deserved more of those happy things with hard lives they've had. So I told them they should buy them for them then, but I'm keeping my property. They called me an a-hole and told me they were ashamed of my attitude. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. They want you to parent kids that are not even theirs. Just foster. It's great that they're helping those kids, but they sacrificed their own child to help others. Meh, they shouldn't take on more than they can handle financially. I honestly don't think people should be allowed to foster if they have underage children of their own. I don't think there's anything wrong with it if they do it correctly. There are many families that take good care of their kids and foster kids. Not the a-hole. It's your property and you can do whatever you want with it. On a more serious note, please consider counseling to deal with how your parents treated you. It sounds like you have some understandable anger. Don't let it poison the rest of your life. This. I let hate consume me when I was younger from issues that happened when I was a child, and it ate me away until someone finally convinced me to seek help. Not the a-hole. Sorry about this decision by your parents. A broken system allows family to overstretch their limits due to the huge need for foster care. What led your parents to suddenly take in so many kids all at once? Fostering is a family decision, with specific counseling for the natural born or previously adopted children.
It helps avoid the feelings you have, which are often present even if you get to keep your room, let alone get shoved entirely to the side. Good luck building up your life going forward. They had always wanted more kids, but my mom couldn't have more after me. I think they thought me being older would make it easier, because there would be less jealousy / less need to be so hands-on with me. Like I could feed myself, get myself up, dressed, shower, homework, all that stuff. So they had time for foster kids therapies. Next story. Am I the a-hole for insisting I get the phone back despite policy? My kids attend a year-round school and started backup for the new term 2 weeks ago. My eldest, 16 female, ended up getting her phone confiscated for using it during class to watch TikTok. We had discussed this before she even got the phone, then had some issues last year. As a last resort, I told her if that happened again, the phone would become mine, and she'd get an old flip phone that was my husband's, with no internet until she could prove trust. The school policies had changed this term from a phone would be confiscated until a parent could come get it, to a phone would be kept for 2 weeks as a first offense, 3 for second, so on and so forth. I wasn't okay with this, as I don't trust the school to not lose it. I know they've lost / broken other students' phones. Plus, I don't want them having access to my daughter's private information. I went to the school and requested it back, saying I wouldn't give it to my daughter, but I paid for it. Secretary gave me this bill, and I didn't blame her, but asked to speak with the vice principal. He comes out and repeats them. I said, okay, but I'm the parent. I paid for it, and I never signed anything giving you permission to hold it. They were refusing, so I said I'd sit in the office until it was given back. I did so, and waited for close to 2 hours. Finally, the principal came out and said I needed to leave. I said if I left, I'd be back with a police escort. At that point, the phone was returned to me. My husband says I Karen'd my way out of it. But to me, it's not their property to take. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. The school's policy is stupid. Your daughter was in the wrong. But many high school students need their cell phones for communication, like younger siblings, jobs, and medical appointments. Some kids stay home alone in houses with no landlines or drive, making having a phone a safety issue. While the school is within their rights to discipline your kid during school hours, they need to get their head out of their A and realize that there are bigger issues at play. Edit. Even stronger not the a-hole in light of the fact that the school lost or broke phones. I hope they're paying the parents $800 every time that happened. I'm pretty sure it's illegal to keep someone else's property, especially for weeks. Not the a-hole. Since when can schools just take private property with confidential information on it for weeks at a time? Especially knowing how often things get lost when they are confiscated. How often do you see articles of teachers / principals confiscating electronics and then selling them on eBay? I've definitely seen those stories. No thanks. They were definitely hoping you'd just get bored and leave. They have no grounds for keeping things like this. I knew it when you threatened to get the police involved. I've read at least one news story of someone who worked at a school stealing / spreading nudes off a student's phone. No, kids shouldn't have those, but teenagers are gonna be teenagers. And I was sharing underwear and swimsuit pictures to friends / boys when I was 16. That's a case where they were caught and punished for it. Edited to add, a phone does not necessarily need to be unlocked to access photos if an ill-meaning staff member has a charger cord to hook it up to the computer, and they know how to browse to the computer's file explorer as if the phone were a connected flash drive. Teacher here. Not the a-hole. What kind of whack job school is this? It is well understood in all the schools I have worked for that parents and teachers are a team working toward the same goal, the best interests of the child. Therefore, not only is the school's relationship with parents incredibly important, but parents should be looped in and consulted regarding both educational and disciplinary decisions whenever possible. You came in acknowledging that you agree that a phone should be confiscated, and ready to back that up at home by swapping your child's phone for a flip phone. So there should have been zero issue handing the phone back to you. I can't believe they choose this hill to die on. Just give the damn phone back. My God. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not getting a tattoo with my sisters and inheriting our grandma's money? My grandma is super against tattoos, as she says they don't look good on women. My 2 brothers have tattoos though, and that's fine with her. When she found out my oldest sister, there's 4 of us, had a tattoo, we still don't know who snitched, she took my sister out of her will. So my other sisters and I made plans for the 3 of us to get tattoos in solidarity with our sister. I said I was going to do it, but then I realized how dumb that was and decided not to do it. They went through with it though, and they were mad at me when they find out I didn't do it. My grandma took them off her will, and when she died, my 2 brothers and I inherited all her money and estates. My brothers and I gave our sisters a little bit of it, but they want us to split it equally. My sisters have been pressuring me specially, because I had said I was going to do that tattoo plan with them and didn't do it. Am I the a-hole for not getting that tattoo with them? Also, would I be the a-hole if I don't split the inheritance equally with them? I already gave them some, but they want more. You're the a-hole. You were right about it being a stupid reason to do it. Especially if it meant your brothers got all the money. And your grandma's ridiculous. But they were mad at you when they found out you didn't do it? So you promised. They went and got it done, and you didn't. No, hey, I thought about it and I really don't want a tattoo. Maybe we could find some agreement to share some of the money with sister. You knew they'd be disinherited, and you'd get significantly more money. You shouldn't be guilted or coerced into getting a tattoo that you aren't 100% sure about. But this was about the money to you. If it weren't, you could have just told your grandma to disinherit you. Dude, it doesn't sound or appear to the outside that you changed your mind and forgot to tell them. It sounds like you talked them into getting a tattoo with malicious Machiavellian intent. You're the a-hole. You took advantage of your grandma's views on women to steal inheritance from your siblings. It seems like OP planned this, and it is almost funny how she's behaving innocent. Everyone sucks here. Your grandma sucks, you suck, and your family sucks. The only fair thing to do is split it equally between everyone. If you chose to keep it, go for it. But is the money more important than your family? If so, you'd be the biggest a-hole of all.